Development Without Growth: Towards a New Economics in a Shrinking World Population by Azlan Adnan, M.A. The global economy has long been driven by the imperative of growth. Conventional wisdom dictates that increasing gross domestic product, GDP, expanding populations, and rising consumption are essential to prosperity. Yet, this model faces profound challenges as the world approaches a demographic turning point. Population growth is slowing dramatically, and in many countries it is reversing. At the same time, environmental limits, social inequalities, and economic instabilities call into question whether endless growth is sustainable or desirable. This article explores the emerging paradigm of development without growth, an economic framework that seeks to prioritize well-being, sustainability, and resilience over the traditional pursuit of expansion. It argues for a fundamental rethinking of how societies measure success and organize resources in a future where population decline is a reality rather than a distant concern. The demographic shift: declining populations and economic implications. Many countries are experiencing declining birth rates and aging populations. This demographic transition poses challenges to traditional economic models that depend on a growing labor force and consumer base. With fewer people entering the workforce and more retiring, sustaining economic growth becomes increasingly difficult. Moreover, a shrinking population may lead to reduced demand for goods and services, impacting businesses and potentially leading to deflationary pressures. The United Nations projects that the global population will peak at around 10.4 billion in the mid-2080s before beginning a gradual decline. From approximately 8.2 billion in 2025, the population growth will slow dramatically due to declining fertility rates in both developed and emerging economies. South Korea currently holds the world's lowest fertility rate at just 0.72 children per woman. This has sparked national concern over population decline, labor shortages, and rising elder care costs. Despite government incentives, many young South Koreans cite high living costs and job insecurity as reasons for delaying or foregoing parenthood. Japan, with a fertility rate of 1.26, faces similar demographic pressures. Its shrinking workforce and aging population strain social welfare systems and contribute to slowing consumer demand, challenging the country's long-term economic stability. Italy, one of Europe's oldest societies, has a fertility rate of 1.20. The nation is witnessing a population contraction as deaths now outnumber births. This trend threatens pension sustainability and burdens younger generations with increased tax responsibilities. China's fertility rate stands at 1.09, reflecting the lasting impact of decades of restrictive family policies. Despite recent efforts to encourage larger families, China's population began declining in 2022, raising concerns about future economic growth and workforce availability. Thailand, with a fertility rate of 1.30, is also facing demographic shifts. Once celebrated for successful population control, it now contends with an aging society and a shrinking labor force, which may slow its economic momentum. The global replacement rate is approximately 2.1 children per woman, necessary to maintain stable population levels without migration. The significant shortfall in these key countries underscores the need for new economic models that do not rely on continuous population growth. Rethinking progress: beyond GDP and growth metrics. GDP growth has long been the principal yardstick of economic success. However, it is a blunt instrument that measures aggregate economic activity without regard to social or environmental costs. In a shrinking world population, GDP growth may become unattainable or undesirable, prompting the search for alternative indicators that better reflect human well-being and sustainability. Indices such as the Happiness Index, Human Development Index, HDI, literacy rates, improved healthcare outcomes, and measures of food security offer richer insights into quality of life. Universal Basic Income, UBI, experiments are also gaining traction as tools to ensure economic security amid changing labor markets. Shifting focus from quantity of growth to quality of development invites policies centered on equitable resource distribution, social cohesion, and environmental stewardship. These measures foster resilience in societies facing demographic and ecological constraints. Advocating a move away from mass consumerism. Our current global economic model relies heavily on mass consumerism, frequent replacement of goods, planned obsolescence, and relentless resource extraction. This cycle drives environmental degradation and social inequality. To move towards development without growth, alternative models emphasize durability, repairability, and shared access over ownership. Concepts such as the circular economy promote recycling, reusing, and reducing waste to decouple prosperity from material consumption. Communities worldwide are experimenting with cooperative ownership, localized production, and slow consumption patterns. These efforts align economic activity with ecological limits and social needs, prioritizing well-being over mere accumulation. Conclusion. The coming decades will witness profound demographic and economic transitions. Declining populations challenge the growth-dependent economic paradigms that have dominated for centuries. In response, a new economics must emerge, one that measures success in human and ecological terms rather than solely in economic expansion. Development without growth is not about austerity or decline, but about reimagining prosperity in a shrinking world. By embracing alternative metrics, sustainable consumption, and resilient communities, societies can thrive despite demographic headwinds and ecological boundaries. The time is ripe to rethink what development truly means to chart a course for an equitable and sustainable collective future for all of humanity. A heartfelt light. To every soul whose hand did give, you've helped me dream, helped me live. In darkest hours your light came through, with hearts so kind, so pure, so true. Your gifts, like stars in deepest night, have steered me gently toward the light. Each coin, each word, each silent prayer, a thread of hope so rich, so rare. My eyes once dimmed now seek the skies, and slowly clearer visions rise. Because of you, I dare to see the world again, its grace, its plea. Your compassion's flame will not just stay with me alone. It lights the way for others wandering through despair to feel the warmth of selfless care. You've shown what love in action means, in quiet ways through giving scenes. You've built a bridge from soul to soul and made the broken feel more whole. So let this thanks rise like a song, a melody both soft and strong. May your example gently call more hearts to rise to give. To fall into the joy of lifting pain, of planting hope where none remains. Your kindness walks beside me still, a light, a love, a living will.
forget to hit that subscribe button to show your support.